Yeah, look, there are many diseases that are a symptom of too much acidity. For example, things like fibromyalgia, things like multiple sclerosis, arthritis. If you take arthritis, you have a situation where often you get a lot of proteins that escape through the intestinal wall, which is often inflamed, and go into the bloodstream, and those acidic proteins need to be, or amino acids need to be neutralized, and so the body will calcify them, and that way it'll stop acidifying neighbouring tissues, and it creates crystals near your joints, and it also sacrifices a lot of the liquid that acts like a lubricant, which is a sodium-based liquid, and that often gets depleted as well, and so that's a symptomology of acidity. Now, people that have gone onto a raw plant-based diet have been able to reverse the symptoms of arthritis, and there was a study, I think it was in Finland in 2008, that actually looked at that, and people were having great success with like a raw vegan diet effectively in reversing arthritis. So yeah, there are so many conditions. In fact, you could almost say that every single condition is due in some way or manifests in some form of too much acidity. And in fact, certain parasites and bacteria only thrive in an acidic environment. To sort of explain that, many years ago we had someone that was quite famous in history by the name of Typhoid Mary. She had the typhoid in her, and she would pass it on to her sick patients who would die of typhoid, but she never contracted typhoid herself. And even when she was confined to the New York women's prison, she never got typhoid. But she was healthy all the way through, and so she had a fairly alkaline body, whereas her patients that were sick already were suffering from other symptoms of other disease, they basically were candidates for dying of typhoid. And for example, most of the population has tuberculous, which is a precursor to tuberculosis. I think it's about 97% of the population. I think I read somewhere that have that. But very few people get tuberculosis now because we're not suffering the same states of malnutrition and lack of folate and a number of other things that would contribute to people getting that particular condition. And so it's not the germ or the bug or the bacteria or anything as such as the condition that is a problem, but it's more the condition of the body that is more critical, because when you're in an alkaline state, the body can then deal with what it needs to address, whereas when it is in a very acid state, then it doesn't have the resources, and then you start getting more of that symptom of disease, and then that tends to accelerate. Now, one question that people ask at this point is, well, can you get too alkaline? And from people that have looked at that, the answer seems to be no. There are people like Robert O. Young, who's been looking at that subject for about the last 30 years and has been heavily involved in dark field microscopy, where they look at the blood deeper than they've looked at with the traditional methods, and where you can actually see the red blood cells moving in real time. And he's looked into that area. And he's found that you can have a pH of up to 11 in the cells, and you suffer no negative consequences. The one thing that does is it gives you an extra alkaline buffer, so that when you do go through a period where you're run down, you're under stress, you're not getting a lot of sleep, you're not eating the sort of foods that you need to be eating, or you might be dehydrated, then you have those extra alkaline buffers that then can come in handy and neutralize acids. So it seems to be a benefit rather than a negative in being very alkaline. And in all these years of research, I don't think he's come across anyone that has been too alkaline, or in other words, that the very high alkalinity has led to any problems. It's only provided a bonus as far as health.